As much as we think songwriters can really write about any subject in the world, if you look at the most popular songs in the last 50 plus years, it boils down to a lot of the same main themes. Love, relationships, empowerment, growing up, anger, grief. But every now and then, a song will sneak through the cracks that turns that formula upside down and becomes a hit despite its unique subject matter. In 2000, Linkin Park exploded onto the scene with their hugely successful album Hybrid Theory. The first two singles did pretty good commercially, but there was one song in particular that shot them into superstardom. No, it wasn't a love song. No, it wasn't an empowering ballad. But instead this weird rap rock track about self-loathing and hopelessness, an almost nihilistic song tapping into the emotional confusion of a new generation. It wasn't a song about meaning and deep importance, it was a track almost about giving up, because in the words of Linkin Park, in the end, it doesn't even matter.
It starts with music should be your life, period. You need to live it, you need to eat it, sleep it, wake up, and the only way you're ever even going to have a chance to make it in this business is if you are willing to sacrifice everything to achieve your goal.
By the year 2000, a ragtag group from Southern California, DJ record scratches, rapping, distorted guitars and all, were excited to finally release their debut album. For years, Linkin Park had struggled getting a record deal, battling record labels to ensure they'd retain their own creative control.
So I like the way it starts off. It's kind of mellow, you aren't quite sure where they're going with it. It's a good intro for radio too, it could be a nice radio edit.
But staying true to themselves was about to pay off.
What's so odd about the song is it's almost talking about these things and saying, like, I don't have any answers.
In the End was the third single off of Hybrid Theory, and while it featured much of the typical heaviness of the nu metal trend at the time, the track is also wrestling with unique and bizarre themes too.
Because usually a song isn't about having no answers, right? It just kind of runs itself around in a circle lyrically.
It was that feeling of hopelessness as a young man, where co-lead vocalist Mike Shinoda got the initial inspiration for In the End.
Especially as a young person, that's just how I felt. Like, that's how we all felt. We didn't know what to make of things, and I think, in a sense, like, that's still what goes on today. It's a timeless and universal thing.
Years of seemingly getting nowhere in music had left Mike in a grimy rehearsal studio in West Hollywood one night, where he'd locked himself in.
You weren't supposed to stay overnight, but they let me stay there because I wanted to kind of spend more time with the music. And outside, it was like, you know, junkies and prostitutes.
Mike wasn't going to leave this space until he had a song in his hands. It started with something simple on the piano.
So I wrote that piano line, the chords to the chorus. I wrote some raps. I did all of the programming for all the beats. I knew I wanted to do the back and forth. Like, he would sing a line and then I would rap.
It starts with one. I don't know why. Doesn't even matter how hard you try.
On the surface, In the End sounds like a nu metal power ballad about a failed relationship, where the main character has wasted time and effort for nothing. But In the End's theme of hopelessness cuts much deeper than just a breakup. Mike writes about doing everything right in the world, but still failing, made worse by all the valuable time he's wasted in that effort. Maybe it's a metaphor for how Mike felt about the band leading up to Hybrid Theory, feeling hopeless that all the work he was putting in year after year would amount to nothing.
Inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to me will eventually be a memory of a time when I tried so hard.
In the middle of the nu metal boom, Hybrid Theory was anything but frat boy rock.
We don't want to be rock/rap. We want to be Hybrid Theory.
What made it successful was Linkin Park's songwriting ability to come up with heavy riff roaring rock bangers, but to also be relatable to a generation of teenagers feeling misunderstood and lost in the world. Linkin Park was a gateway from pop to metal. They made it all right to like aggressive music, but to stay true to your emotional self, to still be vulnerable and honest.
Most kids had a thing that they listened to. Like, I'm a rock kid, I'm a rap kid, I'm this, I'm that. And then once, by the time Hybrid Theory came out and like some other, I think a few years later, you'd ask somebody, what do you listen to? And they say everything.
The name Hybrid Theory, like that was the intention behind, and that's what felt so good about that name, was it described us perfectly. We take all these different things and we splice them up and we put them together to create something new, and that's our identity.
Well, it was that heavy, vulnerable hybrid that made Linkin Park stand out amongst the swath of nu metal bands at the time. Another main part of the band's appeal was lead singer Chester Bennington. Chester had the ability to capture the emotion and turmoil of life in his singing. It created a profound and somber energy to the material, something missing from the rest of the rap rock wannabes during that era. And he bundled it all up into some of the most memorable and gut-busting anthemic parts to sing along to.
I consider Chester one of the best singers of our time. I mean, that's not just being in the band with the guy. I would challenge anybody to sing the stuff that he sings, to cover the song and make it sound anything like him. You can't do it.
I've put my trust in you.
With Chester's ability to transform any song with his powerful voice, obviously he had a big say into band decisions. But ironically, he was adamantly against picking In the End as one of the singles to the album. He later admitted he didn't even like the song that much, and even wanted it off the record entirely. But lucky for Linkin Park, the rest of the band loved it and outvoted him. Still, even Mike couldn't have predicted the effect the song would have on a young generation, and the superstardom it would give the band.
It didn't feel like a hit song. I wouldn't know what a hit song felt like. I was too young. All it was I was feeling despondent. I was feeling like we're doing all this stuff. We're trying to like realize some kind of identity or some kind of like meaning, and it's not working.
In hindsight, Hybrid Theory, and more specifically In the End, is the high-water mark of the nu metal genre. Hybrid Theory has remained the best-selling rock album of the 21st century, with In the End ranking in the top 100 most streamed songs on Spotify, passing the 2 billion mark in 2024.
Our special guest on this one is our favorite special guest of the whole night.
Linkin Park's fan base is really very tight-knit family.
It's you guys.
When we play that song, I've told the fans, like, we're going to start the song and I want you to sing Chester's part.
Of course, it's hard not to look at In the End's themes and relate it to Chester Bennington's mental health struggles and his early death. The track is unique in our culture because it doesn't have a triumph over adversity, no strength in self. Still, despite the song's sentiment of failing and quitting, no Linkin Park fan would ever say they felt that way when belting along to it.
It's more of a culture than just like a music group and a bunch of people that like the music.
Sure, in the end, it may not even matter, but when that sentiment is shared, as opposed to kept within, it validates that feeling of hopelessness. It's shared catharsis.
It's symbolic of the relationship between the band and the fans. Like, there is a blurred line in our relationship between where we end and they begin.